The Trump administration is on pace to shatter deportation records by the end of their first year. Since Trump returned to office in January, the administration has deported over 515,000 illegal migrants from the country. And DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin believes this is only the beginning, saying Trump and the DHS, quote, have jump-started an agency that was vilified and barred from doing its job for the last 4 years. Meantime, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announcing a new push to boost security and stunt illegal immigration at our southern border. Operation Riverwall includes help from the Coast Guard, starting with more than 100 boats and hundreds of personnel to help secure the Rio Grande. Secretary Noem saying, quote, President Trump delivered the most secure southern border in U.S. history in record time, and now our goal is to make sure it stays that way for the long run.
Operation Riverwall. Riverwall sounds like an over 55 community. I kind of like the way that sounds, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. We're following two big legal cases today. First, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals is going to hear oral arguments in the case of anti-Israel protester Mahmoud Khalil against the Trump administration. Khalil and his lawyers pushing for the administration to close his case and stop the effort to re-detain and deport him. Khalil, a permanent U.S. resident with a green card, helped lead Columbia University's anti-Israel protests in 2024. He was arrested by federal immigration authorities back in March and spent more than 3 months in detention. We are expecting to see him in court 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And in New Jersey, federal judge is going to hear oral arguments on whether charges against New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica McIver should be tossed. A grand jury indicting McIver in June for her alleged role in a confrontation with law enforcement outside an ICE detention facility in Newark. The Congresswoman was charged with 3 counts of forcibly impeding and interfering with federal law enforcement officers. She has pleaded not guilty, and she's expected in court at 11 a.m. Eastern.
They thought their marching days were over. But this summer, age is just a number.
Good morning to you. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, and we have a rip-roaring show today. We're going to be traveling today to film some content with a UFC superstar. It's going to be very exciting. And we're going to talk about how Charlie Kirk, his legacy, the legacy of fatherhood, and the power of America First is emanating through fight culture. And we're very excited about that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a shorter show today, but a very important show, as we will have the Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security on the program to talk about all the threats against ICE agents and their lives. Why is this allowed? What is going on? This is the party that shrieked and screamed for literal years about January 6th and about attacks on federal agents, when really the entire crowd at January 6th was feds. And so it was really just feds attacking feds. But nonetheless, you'd think there'd be a little bit of intellectual consistency here. We'll ask today. No Kings protesters steps on mic and calls for ICE agents to be shot. We have a comprehensive list of violence threats from the No Kings crowd. We have more work to be done on that. Should we go to Virginia and ask people to denounce the man who wants to murder Republican children? Maybe we should. We've been thinking about it. Feds announced that they will charge 2 adults suspected in attacking big balls. And the White House has the single greatest comeback in the history of your mama jokes. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Go gold in the golden era. We're going to be traveling today. We're going to be doing a lot of exciting work in and around Washington, D.C. Some things are coming together. We're thrilled about it, and we're also thrilled about your financial future if you invest in physical and precious metals. This is something that I have done, and I'm very glad that I've done it. And we just take the little bit of scratch that we have off the top, and we make sure that we diversify it into precious metals, silver and gold. Silver and gold. The holiday season is coming along. Up to $10,000 in free silver when you make a qualifying purchase with my friends at Advantage Gold. Their 2025 gold and silver report can set you up and lock you in for stability. Go ahead and check how gold has done and performed over the last couple of years. And it'll just make perfect sense to you. Text Benny to 85545 right now and claim your free 2025 gold and silver report. Find out now how to qualify with up to $10,000 in free silver bonuses. Benny to 85545 and claim up to $10,000 in free silver today to qualify. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk through the single greatest 24 hours of White House communications in history. And I just want, because it's going to get lost, people are going to stop caring. I do want to establish that what we've just lived through has just been a cyclone of pure comms glory from the White House. We've never seen anything like it. It all began with President Trump deciding to respond officially to the No Kings protest by posting a video of him in a fighter jet. That video of him in a fighter jet involved him flying a King Trump fighter jet. You can see here, we're just going to do a really quick meme breakdown here, ladies and gentlemen. It says King Trump on the side. He is in here. This is an F-22. He's wearing a crown. I think that's very important. Part of the fighter jet vibe. And then he's dropping raw sewage on Americans. And that raw sewage is landing on the No Kings protesters. There aren't many showers, hygiene, soap bars, toothbrushes amongst this crowd anyway. And so why anyone would really care, I'm not sure. This is, if you have been amongst these left-wing protests, they're rather smelly as it is and stinky. And we've seen them actually throw fecal matter and bottles filled with urine at ICE agents. So this is just your comeuppance, right? Instead of this physically happening, we were in Portland and in Chicago, and ICE agents told us that they have bottles of piss thrown at them virtually every single day. That's something that's physically happening. This is just digital. This is not something that actually happened. I know it's crazy for guys like Harry Sisson, who's featured there in the video, but this is just a joke. It is a meme. It's a meme that Mike Johnson responded to, ALX, we better have that clip. And then also Harry Sisson was on TV all day yesterday talking about how it hurt his feelings. Boy, oh boy. So this was excellent. And this response was absolutely spectacular. But what happened next was just nothing short of magnificent. Harry Sisson decided, because he's the guy who got pooped on right in his mouth, he's the guy who said, can a reporter please ask Trump why he posted an AI video of himself dropping poop on me from my fighter jet? That would be great. It's one of the all-time greatest tweets ever, and I just want to thank Harry. I don't know him, but I want to thank Harry Sisson for putting this out there for people to engage with. It has 17,000 comments, 8,000 reposts, 123,000 likes. Now, I think the better question would be, why isn't everyone posting videos? It's dropping poop on you from a fighter jet. Because it's hilarious, little brah. Okay? It is. Oh, would you like a piano? Oh, no. It's a piano. Okay. It's better than this. That's right. You know you love it. The video is real. We all know it. Okay. Want me to ask him? Well, you know, what's funny about this is that the Vice President of the United States actually responded and said, I'll ask him for you, Harry. This got even more likes and comments and views. And ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the greatest timeline. But it continues. Shall we? The Vice President's response to the No Kings protest was glorious as well. He's all up in that crowd. And demanding fealty from Democrats who have to kneel and pledge their fealty to King Trump. It was posted by Dan Scavino, J.D. Vance, and so on. And this all happened in the same day. And this is what's amazing, is that wasn't it. I know that we played those for you yesterday, but we wanted to take a moment to establish that it wasn't just J.D. Vance, Dan Scavino, and Donald Trump who were batting 1,000. Caroline Leavitt and Stephen Chung, press secretary and director of communications, respectively, at the White House, have been doing just the Lord's work. ALX, I want that KJP, Tim Miller interview. I need that immediately, because I'm going to show you the differences between a sophisticated press secretary, somebody who actually knows what she's doing, and somebody who probably has an IQ that would register on the spectrum, frankly. KJP has reemerged. An unrecognizable KJP has reemerged. Hey, Alex, get me all of the clips, please, for that, because it is just truly glorious. Just load them as play-besides. I want to be able to play them. After President Trump touted yet another meeting with his benefactor, murderous dictator Vladimir Putin on Thursday. Okay, this is the Huffington Post article. I want to just begin. This is the article in question that is trending worldwide because of the response that the White House gave to this reporter. White House gives wild response to a simple question asked by Huffington Post reporter. Oh, baby. Here's what happened. The White House announced that there would be another Putin summit because it's important to end these wars, whether it's Gaza or the war in Taiwan, Ukraine, whatever. You know, there's wars all over the place. Trump's going to end them, okay? Especially the wars that could potentially draw America into a broader regional conflict. It's very important to get those wars done and ended. And so he's meeting with Putin. That's a good thing. It's a super positive thing that happened in Alaska. You want to thaw the ice, as it were, right? With the Russian bears. Okay, this is good. We are 100% in favor of this. Ladies and gentlemen, something remarkable happened here. So they're meeting in Budapest. This is in Hungary. This makes a ton of sense. This is going to be, Hungary is a NATO country. And this is going to be Putin's first visit to a NATO country. That's a good thing. Okay, it's a good thing. Bring people to the table. Stop the slaughter. Stop the killing. All of it good. Okay, so how could you possibly see a problem with this? Well, the Huffington Post writer goes in and is like, Hungary's bad because bad things happen in Hungary. What happened in Hungary? The 1994 Budapest Memorandum, in which Ukraine gave up thousands of nuclear weapons that it inherited in the breakup of the Soviet Union. That was under Bill Clinton. Putin broke a promise in 2014 invasion of the annex of Crimea. That was Barack Obama. And then an all-out invasion in 2022. That was Joe Biden. I'm starting to see a trend here. Shockingly, the reporter doesn't notice this trend and instead just attacks Donald Trump. So given all of the failures of Democrats, this should read, but anyway, Huffington Post asked the White House, who picked Budapest? The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, responded minutes later saying, your mom did. This, with the fighter jet meme, with the king meme, now it's your mama jokes. The reporter, beside himself and aghast and feeling faint, hyperventilating, screamed to the White House communications director, a guy named Stephen Chung. And Stephen Chung added this far more succinct, your mom. It's just glorious. We just highlighted it just for your viewing pleasure here. Your mama. Your mom. Your mom. The internet, of course, is celebrating this. The Huffington Post reporter is a left-wing sociopath, SV Date. It's not actually a correspondent or a reporter. You can check his timeline and see just like what you would expect on Blue Sky, right? Just like what you'd expect on Blue Sky. Look at this. Here's a good example. This was just posted about President Trump and the F-16 poo-poo meme. A majority of Americans voted against Donald Trump last year. Dude, you're the reporter here. What are you talking about? There. I have it for you. SV Date. Donald Trump won the popular vote. This is the reporter that Huffington Post has in the White House. At the very basics, you could say Donald Trump won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, and won 90% of the counties in America. But no, instead he just straight up lies. Majority of Americans voted against Donald Trump. Like this is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Caroline Leavitt is totally and completely justified in responding the way that she did by saying your mom. Caroline Leavitt has gone and posted the entire exchange. Here we go. Caroline Leavitt saying, oh, man. Here we go. All right. There we go. Sorry, I didn't have this loaded. For context, S.V. Date of the Huffington Post is not a journalist interested in facts. He is a left-wing hack who has consistently attacked President Trump for years, constantly bombards my phone with Democrat talking points. Just take a look at his feed. It reads like an anti-Trump personal diary. Here's my full response to his inquiry. Activists who masquerade as real reporters do a disservice to the profession. Okay? There it is. Who suggested Budapest? Thanks. Your mom did. Is this funny to you? It's funny to me that you're actually consider yourself a journalist. You are a far left hack who nobody takes seriously, including your colleagues in the media. They don't tell you to your face, stop texting me your disingenuous, biased, and bullshit questions. There's only one response to this. Yeah. We're having more fun. Ladies and gentlemen, we just have more fun. Caroline is amazing, getting a lot of love for this in the chat and in the comment section. She's getting some like really great AI memes of herself, actually. None of them including an F-16. But this one is a good fit. Like who would be in favor? Who would be in favor of Caroline Leavitt with this fit from the press dais? Fine by me. Fine by me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Caroline Leavitt in the news, and someone else who used to work at the press dais at the White House, who got treated with kid gloves, literal helmet-level short bus by the White House press corps, is Cringe Jean-Pierre. Cringe Jean-Pierre has reemerged in order to continue to lie about Joe Biden, which is wild. She looks totally different. I mean, look at this. Oh boy. All right. So the difference here is wild. So we went obviously from, that to this. Sure. And this is Cringe Jean-Pierre doing a podcast, dude named Tim Miller, who to his credit decides to call her out on how Joe Biden was never available to the press and never answered any questions and never did anything and never made any sense even when he was talking. And listen to Cringe, who is, by the way, completely and totally unrecognizable here. Like, I don't know what's going on. You'll hear it in a second. You'll hear, oh, that's the same person. Got it. Okay, got it. It is the same person because she is still, you can't mask stupid, right? No matter how much plastic surgery you do or how many blowouts or makeovers you do. They can't, fix your brain. And they can't fix the fact that you're an unapologetic liar, which is what happens here. Listen to this.
We did have legislative wins.
Sure, and he didn't talk about him that well, though. He couldn't talk about them. He wasn't campaigning.
No. Wait. First of all, he did talk about them. Whether it broke through or not, he did. Tim, he did talk about.
I mean, he talked way less to the press than Donald Trump does. Way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. He didn't do big events.
Tim, that's not true. Tim, you're conflating all of it. That's what you're doing. No, you're telling me he didn't talk well about it. Then you're telling me he didn't talk at all.
He didn't do either. He didn't talk very often, and when he did, it wasn't very good. He sounded very old.
Maybe you weren't paying attention to what we were doing at the White House. But
I paid attention. I'm with you on the policies. I'm talking about his performance.
The president spoke to the American people a couple times a week. He traveled and did domestic travel and talked directly to the American people.
Look at this dude's face. Okay, this dude is like a TDS stricken lib, and not even he can tolerate it. Not even he can handle this. It's really bad. KJP was doing the rounds. She was on Stephen Colbert. Alex, I don't know if we have those clips. She was on Stephen Colbert. She was on different shows. But this is, a mess. It is the same unrepentant liar. She just look different. I can't figure it out. It creeps me out. I don't understand it. But she's sitting there saying she's sitting there saying, no, Joe Biden was great. He talked to the American people all the time. Remember the cue cards? Remember Joe Biden forgot who George Clooney was near the end? Do you remember how there was like an entire slate of reporters that he would call on and like he'd have the name and the question in advance? We have that. We have the photos of the cue cards. You'd have like the actual photo of the reporter plus the question they were going to ask. And here's Corinne Jean-Pierre.
Here's Corinne Jean-Pierre. Press than Donald Trump
saying
way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. Like he didn't do night events.
Tim, that's not true. Tim, you're conflating all of it. That's what you're doing. No, you're telling me he didn't talk well about it. Then you're telling me he didn't talk at all.
He didn't do either. He didn't talk very often, and when he did, it wasn't very good. He sounded very old.
Maybe you weren't paying attention to what we were doing at the White House. But
I paid attention. I'm with you on the policy.
You didn't pay attention to what we were doing. These are the kind, like, how did we do 4 years of this? How did we do it? And isn't it just incredibly refreshing that at this point, oh yeah, that's exactly right there. Look at that. Can you pop that up real fast? Just throw that up. That's exactly right. This is exactly right. This is the card. This is the card. Hold on. Let's pop it over. There it is. This is it. Look at this. Here's Joe Biden. This is his, obviously, Joe Biden holding the note card. He has a stack of them. Reporter Q&A, April 26, 2023. Question number 1. Courtney Thurmanian from the Los Angeles Times will ask about semiconductor manufacturing and foreign policy. That's what she's going to ask about. This is the reporter. This is who you're going to call him. This is her name. This is her outlet. This is her question. How did they get these questions? How did they get these? Has anybody like, of course the White House would do this if they could. Like they wouldn't do it with Trump because it's too embarrassing. But like, of course they'd get that. So the reporter, but the only way this works, of course, is the reporter has to subject herself to asking the question in advance, submitting the question for approval, and then getting her face printed off on a card and given to Joe Biden to then call on. You know, you go back through, we don't have the time right now, but you go back through and you watch the clips. And what happened at this press conference is that Joe Biden did exactly that. He straight up called on this reporter for the first question, and then she asked the question that she was told to ask right here about semiconductor manufacturing. Grotesque. See if you can spot the differences between that administration and this one. Got on mute.
To cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary.
I have for you. Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't it retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of
with your
water
mom
off
jokes.
the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server, and Apple has recognized that, Google has recognized that, pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America, and it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world. Sure.
Boom. Thank God. And then you compare that to this. And you're just like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is the golden era. I want to make sure that we are done with the old, out with the old, in with the new. Ladies and gentlemen, you should embrace your golden era with American Financing, who can help make sure that you get out of high interest credit card debt today. Give you a little breathing room for the holidays coming up and around the corner. Grocery and gas bills piling up. These are the kind of things that should not be placed on high interest credit card debt, but that is what it is in America. The rate of that debt is skyrocketing, and we want to fix it. American Financing can help unlock the equity in your home and ensure that you can take that high interest debt, pay it off with rates instead in the low 5s instead of the 20s and 30s. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you restructure their loans and save money every single month without upfront fees. Their customers are saving an average of $800 a month. So make the call now. American Financing at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219, americanfinancing.net/Benny. Okay, so we're going to be joined here in just a second by Tricia McLaughlin, Department of Homeland Security. And I want to talk to her about just the what seems like open season on ICE agents across the country. And this is obviously something that is of great importance because, well, I think that the left has gone into the phase where they just start killing everyone. And that's become clear that is not only something that is allowed, but encouraged on the Democrat side of the aisle. And we have a shocking number of examples here for you from this weekend. Let's do the top line. Protester says, no kings. Protester says, ICE agents need to be shot and wiped out. It will come as no surprise to you that this individual is somebody who works at a university. Man was captured on video calling for federal immigration agents to be shot while he spoke at the No Kings rally in Chicago in a message that quickly went viral on social media, resulting in calls for him to be fired and investigated. You've got to grab a gun. We've got to turn the guns around on the fascist system, the No Kings protester said in a video originally posted by Gray Stack Media CEO Christopher Sweat. These ICE agents, they've got to be shot and wiped out. The same machinery that is on full display right now has to be wiped out. The video quickly went viral on social media, many commenting that the man works for the City Colleges of Chicago system. Wow. What do you know? So now we have two members of the educational community in Chicago that are openly calling for death and violence of Republicans and conservatives. Got it. Let's go ahead and play the clip. Thank you very much. These are the comments by this wonderful man who is educating our students at Wilbur Wright College in Chicago. Go.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out.
But these stunning revelations obviously have gotten much, much worse since our show yesterday. We've been able to see a remarkable number of individuals who have mocked Charlie Kirk's death, dressing as him dead for Halloween. There truly are no words. This machine kills fascists, says the guitar. This is a Democrat leader of a county in Pennsylvania posing with an 8647 Let's Kill Donald Trump guitar herself. Charlie Kirk billboards destroyed, Charlie Kirk's murderer venerated. They view this as a Halloween costume. The left is openly calling for better snipers for Donald Trump. These are what their signs say. You go to any MAGA rally and their signs will say, "We love America and we love God. Let's save America." You go to the left and ask, what message do you have for us? And they point to their necks and go, bang, bang, bang. We want you all dead. This is another teacher, for example. Chicago No Kings protester calls to kill Trump. 8647. Trans rights are human rights. Deny, defend, depose. Here are bullets flying in the direction. By the way, this is the kind of iconography that was written on the bullets that assassinated Charlie Kirk. They're openly calling for the murder of Donald Trump. I wish that he hadn't turned his head. I wonder what that's in reference to. I wish he hadn't turned his head. We found another teacher. Lovely lady. Let's go ahead and listen to what she has to say, shall we? What does this Philadelphia teacher have to say about the current state of America? What does she want to do to President Trump? Go.
Can you say that?
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Why can't anybody seem to actually kill the president? Because no one's been successful and good presidents are dead.
Do you endorse political violence?
No. I encourage thought-provoking questions. Like, why is going on in 2025 where someone can't even manage to do that to our president?
Why can't anyone kill our president?
But I'm saying if that's what's on the table and what's happening, why?
So you have a civil rights attorney for protesting, or?
Yes, and I actually just spoke to someone who was a civil rights attorney passing by who stopped and talked to me because he thought...
I've heard enough. That's all you need to hear. They'll tell you who they are. They're not even ashamed of it. Okay, so you just found one crazy, youngish tattooed teacher lady. You just found one kook. No, we didn't. There's so many videos of this. There's so many examples of this. Here's a dude in an 8647 shirt, and you say, "Oh, it's just an old kindly grandpa who's wearing a rainbow-colored sweatshirt." What does he have to say about this? Clearly, he just doesn't even understand what's going on. Maybe the shirt was given to him by his granddaughter, and then you listen to him.
47, explain it to me. I like the colors.
Kill the son of a bitch.
Kill who?
Wow, the 47th president.
Really? What's your name?
Dick Saber.
Glad we got that on camera.
They don't even care. They're the Bolsheviks. They don't care at this point. They're openly admitting that they just don't want to live in a world with Charlie Kirk, and they're perfectly happy that he's dead. They're doing it on camera. They're admitting it on camera.
You seem like a pretty nice lady.
I'm a pretty nice lady, but I can be pretty mean, too.
Oh, really?
Okay, and I have to ask this because people on the other side are going to say that they feel like the Democrat Party has been mean. Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people saying, "Oh, but, it's a terrible thing." No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead.
Let's break it down, because she talks fast. So she's saying it's not a terrible thing that Charlie Kirk's dead. Hitler's dead. Evil people listen to this.
Evil people have no place in my world.
Evil people have no place in my world. Charlie deserved to die. They're saying it on camera. She's standing in front of the Department of Labor. She's in Washington, D.C. She's right in the center of the capital city, holding a sign. She's proud to say it. Maybe there are some conservatives that have naughty thoughts at times, and they don't want to say them on camera. Maybe they think the wrong thing according to culture. These people don't care. The left doesn't care. They've downshifted into the kill my political enemies. They've lost the culture war. They've lost all cultural power, institutional power, and regulatory power. And now they've descended into, well, since we have nothing left, it's time to murder all of our enemies. Many people are saying 8647. Here they are, standing in the middle of the streets, smiling, grinning from ear to ear. This dude who looks just like your average soy cuck in a Starbucks, okay? Like just your average guy working at a local bank. Here he is standing with a sign that says, "I want to kill the president." This is what has happened. This is the descent that has happened. Look at this. Politicians don't die like they used to. make assassinations great again with a shirt of President Trump's head being blown off. Charlie Kirk had it coming. Change my mind from the Denver communists. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Perhaps like we took it too easy on these nursing home No Kings protesters. Things have really gone off the rails. Well, I mean, right now there is a man who's in federal prison for inciting violence against my family. He was indicted on 2 counts in the Middle District of Florida. This is a very serious moment. To talk about it is somebody who is a very serious person. She's been a friend of us for a long time, and she's, well, done a remarkable job protecting America in her role at the Department of Homeland Security. You probably recognize her from her considerable amount of work with the Secretary of Homeland Security. Her name is Tricia McLaughlin. She's the Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs at DHS. And she's going to respond to all of these remarkable on-camera threats to murder Trump administration officials, members of the MAGA movement, ICE agents, and venerating Charlie Kirk's killer. Here we go. Tricia, thank you so much for being on the program today. There is a man in the streets of Chicago who is calling for left-wing protesters to grab their guns and turn them on ICE agents and kill them. This man has been identified. He, I'm sure as no shock to you, works for the university system in Chicago, the educational system in Chicago. What is the response to DHS to this individual who is clearly fomenting and inciting violence against federal authorities?
Well, it's absolutely horrendous, and we've referred him to the Department of Justice for prosecution of threats against our law enforcement, and also really to look into are these threats viable? He's not just fomenting violence against them, but he's encouraging others to take up arms against our law enforcement as well. Benny, you and I have been on multiple trips to these sanctuary cities together, including Chicago and Portland, and we've seen what our law enforcement faces, not just 1,000% increase in assaults against them, but I mean, we just saw 2-3 weeks ago, out of Dallas, there was a terrorist attack against our law enforcement there, where that deranged individual had shell casings on his bullets that said anti-ICE messages, and he left behind handwritten notes that said he wanted to bring the ultimate annihilation, the ultimate terror to law enforcement. So we're seeing this time and time again, and it's not just from these domestic deranged individuals. We're also seeing bounties on our officers' heads from Mexican cartels, including the Latin Kings gang. But I also think, of course, and we've talked about this a number of times, look at these politicians who continue to foment violence against our law enforcement, and not just with their rhetoric, but also with their conduct. If you look at J.B. Pritzker, who's saying he's going to prosecute law enforcement for simply enforcing the rule of law on the books. And then you look at Brandon Johnson, who's the mayor out of Chicago, and he's saying that there's not going to be ICE zones, and he's trying to ban them from certain places in the city. This is what you get. You embolden these lunatics.
So it's wild that the left feels like they can just openly call for murder at something that is totally alien and foreign to the right. I've been to thousands of MAGA rallies, as I know you have, Tricia. I am very locked in with the online culture and community of the right. And while there are people who are definitely aggressive, right? Lock her up. Like, everyone loved that chant. That's funny. But like, nobody was ever saying, kill my political enemies. That was never, I mean, I'm telling you, I go into the deepest, darkest recesses of like the chats and the community, and we have millions and millions of followers. And so I think we have like a really good, a test subject case population for the right. And having gone to all these MAGA rallies, I've never heard that. In fact, when Joe Biden gets terminal cancer, the vast majority of the audience is just like, we're going to pray for him. Like, that sucks, for the guy. Like, that's a terrible thing to have happen to him. What's the difference here? Like, what is happening on the left now? Where we just did like a 10-minute segment of all of the glorification of murder of their political enemies. And they're saying it openly in the streets. What is this?
Yeah, I think there's a lack of basic humanity going on. It's tribalism gone wrong. It's really despicable to see, and I think that everyone should see that it's left, right, Democrat, Republican. This is so beyond politics. This is about basic goodness, basic humanity, caring about your brother and sister of Christ, and it really it's unbelievable, Benny. I think that you've done such a great job in talking about this moment, and with the legacy of your friend and so many of our heroes, Charlie Kirk, you're carrying that mantle and doing it so well. And I applaud you for continuing to bring the speech when the left doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I guess that it really does get to like the core of it, which is a spiritual problem. I was pretty stunned as I was looking through some data for a speech that we gave this weekend, and I found that about 60% of the Democrat Party believe in God. That number's 93% for the Republican Party. And if you don't believe in God, then you just really don't have any value for his creation. And you won't see human beings as inherently valuable and stamped with the mark of the creator. And if you don't believe in the creator, then you won't value the creation, right? And so then I guess murder makes a ton of sense if you're a Bolshevik, and it's worrying to me because I feel like that's where the country's headed, especially after this weekend. Seeing some of the content out of this weekend, and in no way was us going through 10 straight minutes of the celebration of the murder or the calling for the murder of Trump administration officials or Donald Trump. Is that the full slate, comprehensive slate of all of the murder calls this weekend? That's just what we could find. It just seems like something needs to happen. Like the left needs to perhaps police their side a lot better, ostracize people. I wonder where Democrat leadership actually is. And I guess, Trisha, for a second there, I hoped that they would come to the table, but they're running a guy for attorney general in Virginia that is straight up calling for the murder of Republican children. And he hasn't lost a single endorsement for that.
No. Just gotten more money, by the way, on that front. I mean, as far as what we've seen out of Portland and Chicago and Los Angeles over the weekend, I mean, we did see an uptick in violence once again. A lot of it you and I have seen with Antifa-affiliated individuals. Your friend, Nick Sorter, getting arrested by the police department in Portland after simply defending himself after a mob attacked him. We're seeing more of this, and we're seeing that these Antifa-aligned individuals are becoming increasingly professionalized, increasing amount of funding. And so President Trump has really directed us, follow that funding, whether it be with Secretary Bessent, Pam Bondi, a whole of government approach to make sure that we are actually figuring out who is stoking this chaos and this violence in this country, whether it be domestic or foreign.
So it's interesting. You brought up Portland a couple times here. Nick Soder is in Portland, and he's posted quite an attack last night on the ICE facility there in Portland. Now they were throwing smoke grenades. They were throwing smoke bombs. It looked like a complete war zone. It's crazy. We're loading up the clip right now, but I heard, according to the press, that Portland was safe and was beautiful and that everything was fine there. This doesn't look like everything is fine.
Yeah, don't believe lying eyes, right?
Yeah. It's just like hell on earth, Christian. So this is the state. This is the state of Portland last night. What's the status right now?
There were at least 10 arrests there yesterday. Those were of rioters, not of illegal aliens on the ground there. But we just got a ruling from a federal judge that that the president does have the authority to send the National Guard to Portland to make sure that the public is safe, make sure that our facility there that is under siege and has been for months, that is safe and secure, and to make sure our law enforcement is safe and give those men and women that you're seeing right now the backing that they need. They have been under siege for months. And the fact of the matter is Secretary Noem has met with the mayor of Portland. She's met with the governor. They fail and refuse to do anything. They call this peaceful protesting, as you're seeing, quite frankly, a war zone in front of you. And so thank God President Trump did send that National Guard out there, and we're going to be seeing them on the ground here in the next couple of days.
So the National Guard will be will be deployed in Portland and will prevent scenes like this. It does look. It looks like a war. It's a failed state. This looks like a failed state, a sunken state. We were there in Portland. We were there in Chicago, and I watched as the violent protesters attacked federal authorities, and I heard their stories: sticks, bricks, stones, rocks, bottles of piss being thrown at them at all times. Many people upset that President Trump posted a meme of him with a crown and a jet, when their side is literally trying to kill federal authority. Like they're upset about a meme when their side is literally trying to kill federal officers.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, but it's intentional. It's planned. We know that this is a broader plan that's going on, and it has to be stopped. And that starts with the funding, and that starts also with giving law enforcement the backing that they need.
So in Chicago, obviously, there was quite a few protesters. There was a protester that was calling for people to shoot ICE. There was a teacher that was making a reenactment motion of Charlie Kirk's death. What will happen to these people? So there's the one individual that's been referred to the DOJ. What will happen to the people that are openly calling for the, aside from why that's happening, the spiritual question, which perhaps should be left to the theologians, or just leave them up to God, why their souls are so sunken. What happens from a judicial perspective to these people that are openly calling for murder of Trump and celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Well, threats of violence are not free speech as much as the left might want you to believe it is. It's not. These individuals will be referred to the Department of Justice as we see it. I know the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, she's very much aware of this, and her team is all over this. So we are expecting to see prosecutions, because we're seeing that this violent rhetoric is turning into violence. We've seen that time and time again now.
Well, we really hope for that. And we would hope perhaps, you can conclude with just a message to Democrat leaders, because I'm telling you, Trisha, you've worked in this game for a long time. So have I. I have absolutely no tolerance for anyone on the right. If somebody on the right was calling for the murder of Democrat children, someone on the right is running for office and they're calling for the murder of Democrat children. Let's kill Democrats and their kids because their kids are little communists. How quickly would I disavow that person? How quickly would you disavow that person? How easy would it be to strip them off the ballot, right? And say, no, of course you shouldn't run for a law enforcement office. That would be very easy. That'd be very obvious. But it's maybe a message to Democrat leaders who are putting in jeopardy Republicans, and especially the federal agents that work at DHS every single day.
Yeah, I think you have to look in the mirror. These politicians have to look in the mirror and see beyond the tribalism of our politics. This is about basic humanity. This is about being a decent and moral human being. The fact of the matter is that our law enforcement, they're facing prevalent doxing. Their children, where they go to school, where their spouses work, is being put on the dark web, and they're being targeted not just by these left-wing lunatics, but also by members of cartels and highly sophisticated criminal rings. At some point, you have to find within yourself that even if you have a policy differential with someone, they should still have the ability to go home at night to their children and their family and live a safe life. So, Benny, thank you for what you're doing, for speaking the truth, and God bless you.
Well, we plan on going to Virginia, and we're going to go to Virginia, and we're going to ask Democrats if they disavow this. I just want to get it on camera. I want people to see the difference, because it really is the difference. And it can all be really divided up between the belief in God lines. I couldn't believe that data point. And it makes so much sense, actually, when you look at it. Since you do comms and you do professional comms for this really newsworthy agency, just a parting question, Trisha. I'm just so proud of Caroline Leavitt at the White House making your mama jokes to left-wing reporters. I'm wondering if DHS is going to start doing that. I know you guys aren't above, the cracking jokes, making dank memes.
Caroline is the GOAT, so we might have to follow her lead on this. We'll look at this.
Okay. Your mom said go to Budapest. I just when I think about the golden era, that's what I think about. That and Trump King memes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's done apologizing. I love it.
It's incredible. Speaking of a joke, just one final thing off the top of the dome. The meme. The people said it was a meme and a joke when these young men said they were going to attack ICE and get a bounty on the heads of ICE. And it was a clip that was going viral over the weekend. ALX load it. Or maybe don't. I'm not sure if we should play it. But it's these guys that saying threatening ICE. And Department of Homeland Security did not take this as a joke. Can you give the status of this?
Yeah, there were two separate narratives going on. It was the Eric Swalwells of the world were tweeting about this. There were even some USA Today journalists tweeting about this. First, they were saying, the left was saying that we had doctored this video and changed it from an Iranian message video to anti-ICE, that we had doctored it ourselves. And then the second narrative from the influencer, the guy who posted this video, was that, oh, he was hacked. So after he gets called out from the Department of Homeland Security for threatening ICE agents with violence, then suddenly he says he was hacked. So we referred this to the FBI, and so we'll check on the status with them. But the fact of the matter is that these politicians like Eric Swalwell and Dan Goldman, who both were posting about this and threatening to haul Secretary Noem in front of Congress for this video, are so willfully blind to the fact that there is violent threats against our law enforcement, and go so far as to create these fake narratives to cover up for these thugs.
So, yeah, I mean, again, they posted a video that said, ICE, we're on our way. The streets and cartels put a $50,000 bounty on you. And it's a photo of them standing, presumably in a manner that says, we're going to go attack ICE agents and kill them for money.
Yeah, absolutely. So happy to give you an update as far as from the FBI and the DOJ, but we're not backing down on this. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't some hack. The evidence will show otherwise. We have the receipts.
All right. Well, thank you, Trisha. Godspeed in your mission here. And everybody can go follow Trisha McLaughlin. She's obviously one of the legends. I would consider you a GOAT in your own right. And ladies and gentlemen, Trisha is just completely and totally fearless at the Department of Homeland Security. Couldn't be more proud of you, Trisha. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you, Benny. It's an honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we head out to our shoot today, as you are well aware, Patriot Mobile will be with us in our pocket, keeping us locked and loaded and connected on the road everywhere that we go. Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative wireless provider. I'm going to be using their mobile hotspot today, as we will be in Miami training with a UFC superstar, Bo Nickel. This is something, obviously, that we want to do. We want to continue our march into and directly at culture. And we're going to be talking with him about fatherhood, Christian strength, manly strength, and also the legacy of Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk's life affected him greatly. How will we bring you that information? Well, with Patriot Mobile and their ability to keep us connected to you on the road. I'm also probably going to get my ass kicked today, and we're going to try and spar. It's not going to work out well. I'm not a particularly great athlete. I might lose a tooth, and that'll be pretty evident tomorrow on the live stream, if that actually does happen. So take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny and call 972-PATRIOT and use the promo code Benny for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Benny. All right. Yes, this is the news. Trump wins again. Ninth Circuit says that he can send the National Guard to Portland. As Trisha just covered, the U.S. Court of Appeals and Ninth Circuit ruled that President Donald Trump has the authority to deploy the National Guard to Portland, reversing the decision by a district judge earlier this month. It's the second time the Ninth Circuit, despite its reputation for liberal bias, has overturned the lower courts in allowing Trump to exercise constitutional power as commander-in-chief. The first case was in California, and now in Portland. The divided federal appeals court on the Ninth Circuit today overturned temporary restraining order put in place by the federal judge in Portland, removing legal impediments and preventing the Trump administration from sending the National Guard troops to Portland. There you go. I can't tell you how happy I am about this because I saw the state of the ICE Portland facility. Guys, do we not have this article? Can we pop this up, please? Just show everyone. Thank you. Trump wins again. Ninth Circuit says he can send National Guard to Portland. When we were in Portland, this was obviously horrifying to see. The building was on complete lockdown. The windows were all boarded up. They were worried about sniper rounds and sniper rifles. They were worried the building itself was like on fire. And as we can see, what was happening last night, this is the peaceful protests. This is the peaceful protests in Portland. What was happening last night was just nothing short of hell on earth.
The flag.
The scenes from Portland last night. It's from our friend Nick Sotor. Goodness gracious. Stay safe out there. Jeez, what an absolute war zone. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we do head into dangerous situations. When we do that, we want to make sure that we have our healthcare set and locked. I use MediShare. It is Christian care for me and my family. We are also going to be fighting a UFC superstar today, and we'll probably get hurt. And so MediShare, I wouldn't advise it, all right, but MediShare, ladies and gentlemen, can make sure that you can feel safe and locked in with your medical professional care. It is used by more than 1 million Americans. MediShare is a great option for more than 30 years. It's a Christian company, and it shares and distributes the costs of medical services amongst the actual families themselves, lowering the overall costs, making sure that you can stay healthy, and can save you thousands and thousands of dollars on your health care. As you are well aware, my wife is a nurse, and she is extremely picky about how we care for our children and the kind of care that we use for our children. And MediShare is what she has chosen out of a wide range of options for our kids, and we're very, very happy with it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more, 2 easy options. Go to medishare.com/Benny. That's medishare.com/Benny. Or send a text message, and you'll get info on how you and your family can get coverage. Text the word Benny to 70246. That's the word Benny to 70246, and you'll get the link. Message and data rates do apply. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a quick show today, but an important show. It's something that we obviously need to talk about and something that we need to take very seriously. And so that brings us to our verse of the day before we scoot out of here and lock and load on the road. Verse of the day, let's pop it up. The Lord will establish you as his holy people. He has promised you an oath. If you keep the commandments of the Lord, the God will walk, your God, and walk in obedience to him. Deuteronomy 28:9. He's established you as his holy people. Just a reminder, the Republican Party has a 93% belief in God. Democrat Party is barely a majority. Okay? Keep his command in the Lord, and God will walk in obedience to him. You'll have a good life. You'll be at peace. You'll be able to do some pretty remarkable things. God has a promise and a plan for all of us. We all have a purpose. We were created with a purpose, and with the sovereign mark of our Creator. And ladies and gentlemen, that makes all the difference. So live out that purpose. We're proud to have you and the community here with us. Let's march on to win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
They thought their marching days were over. But this summer, age is just a number.
Where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny shows a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.